Okay, now I'm going to do a review of Twilight. Unfortunately, I don't have the audiobook to show to you because I returned it to the library quite a bit of time ago, actually. I think I forgot why I was keeping it, and then I returned it, and then recently I remembered. Although I wouldn't have been able to keep it this long anyway because there were like a million holds on it, probably because Breaking Dawn came out. But yeah, I was slow to get around to listening to Twilight, and part of it because it just didn't interest me. I went through the Buffy phase, and then I was done with vampires for a long, long time, and I still pretty much am. But I felt that if I wanted to become a youth librarian, that I should know what Twilight was about. So I listened to it, and actually it was not as bad as I expected, which is about as good a compliment as you'll get out of me for a lot of books. I liked it. I can't explain why, but I liked it. This is what a liberal arts education has done to me. I overanalyze everything. But some part of me liked it. Maybe it's just I didn't have to think too hard, although I hope that's not the case. And there's plenty of other things that don't make me think too hard that I don't like. So I don't know what it is. It could be that when I first started listening to it, I heard this horrible, it wasn't horrible, but it was just acoustic guitar music that validated all of my fears about the book. It was dark, it was angsty, it was teenagery, it was everything that I had stereotyped the book as being. And a lot of it is true, but the descriptions that she started out with weren't over the top. They were very simple, and I think that's what drew me in, because it didn't start out as, oh, beautiful girl languishing, dull to a very misty place until she finds a handsome, attractive vampire. It wasn't as much that. Once she gets in a relationship with the vampire, though, there's a little bit too much of, he's so handsome, he looks like a Greek god, he's so godlike and divine and perfect. I thought those were over the top, but usually when she describes everything else, it's not over the top. I didn't understand what kept me reading. I kept being interested despite the fact that not a lot seemed to happen, other than the fact that she meets Edward. We already know he's a vampire. If you know anything about this at all, you know he's a vampire, so there's not really a big reveal there. But I liked a lot of the peripheral characters more than the main characters. I think there's a lot of really cooler stories behind the Cullens. I liked Alice in particular. I think there's a lot of really interesting things to find out there more than between Edward and Bella. They're not particularly interesting characters. Bella's a bit like a camera. At least she's not an over-the-top camera, unless she's talking about how divine Edward looks. But she's just kind of a camera, and she gets into a lot of trouble. She's not totally the damsel in distress, and it's not as angsty as I had thought it would be. They seem to have justifiable angst, more so than over-the-top, too much angst. Any angst that they have is relatively justifiable. I think Edward has a right to be a bit bummed that he's kind of a monster, you know, seeing as he's otherwise relatively a good person. And Bella, apparently this doesn't bother at all, because he's godlike. But they don't seem to have any good reason behind their relationship other than they are really attracted to each other, and Edward thinks Bella smells really good. I don't think these are sound relationship starters. But other than that, there's something about it that kept me reading, and I can't quite grasp it. I wish I could. I wish I could. Like I said, I think it's something about the suspense, but nothing much happens for a really long time. Most of the action is towards the end, so I don't think it's that. And I've done another text review online as well on my library website, and I will put a link to it in my text blog. So that is it. That is my opinion of Twilight. Thanks for watching.